guys, thanks for having me first off. So, how did I get into Dungeons and Dragons? I got into Dungeons and Dragons much earlier than a lot of people. I started playing when I was maybe 10 years old. I started off playing Warhammer, all that kind of stuff. And I saw this sort of crowd of people playing this game with no miniatures, getting super excited about it, all that stuff. And long story short, the DM of that game became my DM for 10 years, something like that. Still one of my good friends to this day, and that's how I got into D&D. I can't remember my first character or first adventure or anything like that, but yeah, that's the short version anyway. Favourite campaign I've been a part of? That's a difficult one. We recently played through Curse of Strahd with 2 different groups, sort of last year, and that was probably my favourite 2 campaigns to run simultaneously, to see the way that the parties dealt with different things. There was a lot of shenanigans during that adventure, and yeah, it was kind of great to see the contrast between 2 sort of completely different parties. That was interesting. Curse of Strahd in general is one I would recommend. It's so much fun, there's so much for the players to do, and yeah, that's easily the best adventure that I've run through DMing so far. Intense moment. I don't play that much as a player. I'm sort of the forever DM, but one of the moments that I DM'd that was absolutely ridiculous, Fizzman's Treasury of Dragons had just come out. I got a bit trigger happy and was like, oh yeah, Elder Brain Dragon, that looks like fun, they can deal with it. And it turned out that they probably would have been able to deal with it if they'd been sensible. They all rolled stealth checks. The Blood Hunter rolled double natural ones with advantage on the stealth check. It didn't go well, and then they decided to fight the Elder Brain Dragon. It was asleep on sort of like a pile of brains and stuff, as you'd expect from an Elder Brain Dragon, and the Blood Hunter dropped the Sun Sword into the brains as a result of a natural 1 on an attack roll. The Rogue, meanwhile, decided that they wanted no part of this anymore, went off to the next room and drew the mob from the next room in, so they ended up fighting 2 mobs worth of stuff, if one of them being an Elder Brain Dragon. It just wasn't great. That was my first ever total party kill. It was touch and go for a little bit, but that ended up being my first total party kill, and I am not proud of it. You're lucky, you've actually caught me at a time when I'm actually playing D&D, and my current character is a Goblin Warlock named Gobovin Gobhausen. He's a sort of creepy, very Nosferatu goblin trope guy. He collects teeth, he has a jar of teeth, which is also his spellcasting focus, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with him. I get to put a real sort of creepy voice on for him, and it's a lot of fun. I've only played 2 sessions with him so far, but I'm having so much fun with him. I really enjoy playing goblins. They're usually my go-to, those are kobolds. And this is the first time I've played a spellcaster in a long time as well, so that's kind of a big deal for me. You look. What IP would I like written into Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, a lot of you are going to know the answer's absolutely Pokemon. That's what I'm making at the moment. But other than Pokemon, I'd like to see someone write an adventure in the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien universes. That would be really cool. I'm not just going to stick with the Pokemon thing because that's super obvious. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, I feel like there's a lot of background there. There's a lot of scope for different races, the different races of elves, different races of men, and the dwarves, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of sort of different stories between like the Silmarillion and all those kind of different source books that you can make a lot of really interesting adventures. Yes, there is a rule I'd like to see changed in Dungeons and Dragons. 5th edition specifically, criticals, they do not feel good. Like, you just get extra damage and it's cool, but everyone loves extra damage, it's very important to the game, but it feels underwhelming sometimes. You know, you roll your dice, you roll that double 1 on your 2 damage dice. I feel like we could do with like maybe a table or something like that for long lasting crit effects. Grim Hollow deals with this quite well. The Grim Hollow sourcebook has like a table for different stuff you can do with critical hits and stuff like that. I think D&D Shorts did something as well recently where they were like, you aim at a body part or something like that, and they get like stunned or paralyzed or whatever. And I feel like that's a really good way of dealing with it. I feel like we just need something a little bit extra just to push those crits over. The double damage doesn't feel like enough at the moment. So the D&D content I create, I know this is what you're here for. I make Pokemon into Dungeons and Dragons characters. So I've got a few examples of me here. There's a little Togepi. This was the first one that sort of blew up on TikTok. And I've got a whole party of, I've got all of the starters at the minute, all the original 3 anyway. And I make these from those, basically I start off with some Pokemon toys, and then I add all the D&D elements to them. And I have a lot of fun making these. I made the first few because one of my party wanted a D&D adventure based in the Pokemon world where you can play as Pokemon as an adventurer. And I thought it was really cool, and I just ran with it. And now here we are, I'm doing this nonsense all the time. I am having a lot of fun doing it though, so that's what's important. Okay, so where can you find my content? If you go to TikTok, I am DungeonXDragonites. You can find from there my Twitch, my Instagram, and my Twitter. They're all sort of linked on there. It's in one of the pinned videos. As well as that, you can find me on YouTube. I'll be down in the comments section in probably as soon as this video gets posted, because I'm super excited about it. That is JS Studios on YouTube. Soon I'll be on Patreon as well. If you follow me on any of these channels, you'll get bombarded with that when it happens. I'll be selling Pokemon STLs, Pokemon Adventure STLs specifically. I'll be selling some rules to play your Pokemon adventurers in Dungeons and Dragons, and finally I will be doing some adventures for you to play those adventurers in. I'm testing the first one next weekend for the final time. It'll be the 4th time I've run it. It's based on Rattata and Raticate, and it's got a super creepy rats in the walls style Lovecraftian vibe, which I don't think really gets explored with Pokemon outside of those 2 pieces of Junji Ito art. So I am super excited about that. Okay guys, thank you very much for having me on the channel. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I know you only got a handful of videos up, but I've enjoyed all of them. They've got me through many a work day when I'm supposed to be working, don't tell my boss. But yeah, thank you very much guys. If you enjoyed this, give me a follow on all those social media. Give nocritsg a follow as well. These guys are really cool. I really enjoyed chatting with them, and I really enjoyed doing this little interview today. Okay guys, cheers, thank you.